He said, when you look for the great in people, what do you find? And I said, greatness. And he said, that's right. And the antithesis is true. So if you look for bad in people, you're gonna find, your brain is gonna look for bad. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of The Morning Takeaway. It is currently Monday. You're gonna be seeing this on a Thursday, but I wanted to get on here and share a little story I have from the gym. I talked about it in my Facebook group. If you're not in there, the link is in the description, I'm pretty sure. But before we go into that story and kind of what I wanna make this podcast around, and I'll make it pretty quick, just kind of wanna get a little ramble off, rant off, and just kind of reflect on what was said. But before we get going, I want to give you a fun fact. Something I've been researching a little bit. I heard it on a podcast, so I started doing my own research. But I just experimented with for the first time in my smoothies, adding broccoli sprouts. And it sounds disgusting. I actually opened them up. They're still kind of like smell live, and they smelled just very earthy, I guess. Not disgusting, but so I thought it was gonna take over my entire smoothie, but it didn't, and it was still good. You don't even know that they're in there, but why? So there's a lot of research that's been done on something called sulforaphane. So it's very present and high in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, lots of things that you can find fiber in, but one of the highest forms is broccoli sprouts. And why? Well, first of all, you know that one of my hobbies is literally using my body as a human guinea pig and just kind of testing everything. And obviously I'm not gonna notice a difference after the first day of trying it, but I'll let you know in like 2 weeks how it's going, if I'm still doing it. And which I probably will be, unless I notice something crazy that just happens. I don't know. Anyways, but the reasoning behind it is there's all kinds of research done that has been shown to improve cognitive function, memory, mental clarity, just kind of all these different, not to mention it links to your gut, right? And all the healthy bacteria in your gut and the way it feeds your brain, the gut to brain, your gut is your second brain. And I talk about this all the time, but this is something I actually really want to start incorporating into my content, especially on Instagram more, because there's such a increased number of people there, and just really educate on gut bacteria, right? And just it's so important just to pay attention to what we eat, pre and probiotics, how we're kind of fueling that gut mucosal layer and how it aligns with your brain and really affects, like, you ever eaten something? And Austin, I know Austin watches my videos. Austin said something the other day in one of the comments, and he said, do you ever feel lethargic or a little bit, like lazy, or after you eat, you feel tired? And that was one of the reasons why I got so far into this kind of stuff, because noticing what you eat and noticing how you feel, it all plays a part. And the standard American diet, pumps us with all this fake stuff. And gosh, I could go on and on about it, but we're not going to talk about that for this podcast. Maybe if you want to know more, let me know and we'll do something on there. But without further ado, before the complimenting gets going, don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, especially if you watch these videos and you're not already subscribed. Please help me out. That does help me. And share the show. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you're the first people, I should say, to get a notification as soon as I release a video. Watch it all the way through. It truly does help me out if you can stand me. So without rambling on with my YouTube sales pitch any longer, I want to tell you a story. So one of my really good friends here in Newport Beach, he is a businessman. I look at him as a coach and a mentor, but as well as just like a really good friend, right? He is older than me. He has the most wisdom I think I have ever encountered in a human being, and just his outlook on life. And I can't say a bad thing about him. And I've known him for a few months now, obviously, probably since I moved here. Took a couple months until we introduced ourselves, but I noticed something about him. He's very good at complimenting people as soon as he sees them. And I've just kind of been taking note of it and just like trying to figure it out. I've listened to podcasts before and like heard people say that that's a good thing to do, and you can dive into reasons why, and that's what we're gonna do here. But to see it firsthand and feel it, I guess, not only with me, because he does it with me, but everybody else. It's powerful. And it's a different kind of powerful. And I want to expand on that. So, and to tell the story all the way through, I went up to him today, I said, you know what I noticed about you? And he said, what? Like, what do you notice? And I said, you're very good at complimenting people as soon as you see them. And he looked at me, he's kind of nodded his head, smiled, and he said, you know why that is? It's because I look to see the greatness in people. And when you look for greatness, what do you find? To which I responded, greatness. Or he said, when you look for the great in people, what do you find? And I said, greatness. And he said, that's right. And the antithesis is true. So if you look for bad in people, you're gonna find, your brain is gonna look for bad. And it's kind of that, like the way our brain works with ourselves, with people, with anything. And that's what he said about life. He said, I look at life, people, places, things, and I go into it with, and it's not even just like this mumbo jumbo, like positive thinking. It's just, hey, I'm gonna take the perspective to this place, to this thing, to this person, and say, hey, I'm gonna see the good in this. And what that does, it actually reminds me of a Jocko Willink video where anything that bad, quote unquote bad, you never use the word bad, everything is good. And like, oh, it's the get to versus have to. I have to go to the grocery store, good. I have to go to work today, good. There is something that you can take from that experience that you are going to be able to grow from. You're going to be able to look at it as an opportunity. You are going to be able to just take a new outlook, right? That breeds, it does breed positivity, and it breeds a different perspective to you that ultimately, if you can start to implement this in your life, right? And he obviously has, it changes things. And ultimately, you're gonna live a little more, in my opinion, probably a little more relaxed, less stressed, right? Like you go into a conversation with somebody you don't like and you're looking for the bad, you're not gonna enjoy that conversation. You're gonna be checking your watch to see when you can get out of it, right? Instead of going into that conversation and saying, I'm gonna find the good in people, right? And so, and this is kind of a side ramble that I'm going on, but going back to complimenting people, what does that do? And when I say that I experienced this firsthand, I say that because when you compliment somebody, and like for his example, even when you talk to somebody and I hate to use like gender or sex as an example, but it is pretty plausible, like ego. I think in men, it's way higher than women. And when you go up to a man and say, hey, a compliment, you feel that barrier just drop. And I think that's my point with this. When you compliment somebody, all ego goes away. It's the first thing that comes, hey man, you look good today. Hey, I really like that shirt. Hey, you're looking really good. I noticed this, whatever it is. It can be the smallest thing. I like the way you are wearing your hair today, whatever that is. And it's so powerful because vulnerability then jumps in. You are vulnerable enough to point something out about somebody that you think is pretty cool or that you obviously complimented them on, right? And what that does is it takes down the barrier, and that person is able to say, take a deep breath. They're able to take a step back. They're able to say, wow, I can approach this person and feel comfortable. Because immediately, what are they going to do? Oh my gosh, thank you. Like, oh, you too. And you're immediately connecting. And I think the roundabout theme here is that vulnerability is a key to connection. And if you can be vulnerable with yourself, with your peers, with others, which is essentially what? Just telling the truth? You can go so far. And I think that's just it's kind of a metaphor for life. Like, if you can be transparent with yourself in the mirror, if you can talk to yourself, if you can compliment yourself, if you can be vulnerable with yourself, if you can be vulnerable with the people around you, you ultimately get this freeing feeling. And back to complimenting people, that idea to compliment someone and basically free up the space, it just alleviates so much unwanted energy and unwanted stress. And I guess I tell you this because it was super powerful to me. And he also said, iron sharpens iron, right? So if he's complimenting people, if we are complimenting people as soon as we see them, you are ultimately opening the door for so much more, to sharpen each other, to learn from that person, to take something away from the conversation that you may not have if you had a different outlook approaching that conversation, right? And again, this can go for anything more than just people as a whole. And it's the vacation you don't want to go on. It's the vacation you don't want to go on. That sounds funny because who doesn't want to go on a vacation? But you get the point. So I think that's kind of the gist of my rant. It just really struck me today, and I wanted to get on here and talk about it. So without further ado, let's end this thing with a random question. What is one of the great values that guides your life? Wow, that is about the most plausible question to me. One of the great values that guides my life. First thing, discipline in my routines. And that's the easiest answer. Because for me, for myself, when I let go of one little discipline and feel like I'm sliding off track, then I know I need to adjust, right? And that genuinely does guide my life. So stacking the little things, doing the little things right way, right? If the dishes need to be done, do them. Or if you get done with a dish, just do it so they don't stack up, right? So anyways, that's just a little rant for you here on this Monday afternoon. I guess it's Thursday when it could be any day when you're watching this, really. Or you watch it 3 times on 3 different days. All right, that's enough out of me. But anyways, I appreciate you watching, listening to me. I hope I said something that maybe resonated. If I did, please share it with somebody you love, you care about, somebody you think might take something away from this. As I always say, if somebody could have gotten on a microphone and a camera to change my life, I hope that I can say at least something that one person takes away. I hope you have an awesome freaking day, and don't forget to smile.